Good morning, everyone. It is August 8th, and I started a little later today. Didn't want to be here in the pitch black, but we're gonna see how things go today because of the thermal climb and the heat. Personally, I should be more towards the end, but this has been my area. These are the trade-offs. There's so much vegetation here, so there's a lot of cover, there's a lot of oxygen, so we know that. Otherwise, the current's there, the trees are there, but there's a lot of riprap, and the chances of snags are great. Great if you're using braid, not great if you're going with light floral. So, well, we're gonna see if we can. It's been so low. July was phenomenal. August, not so much. First week of August, I mean, after catching, oh, here we go. Let's see. Let's see if we get another pull. Pull it. Nope. We'll need to check the, this one. Let's see. We heard the thing go, but looks like they just bumped it. But I don't see anything. Mine is moving though. Okay, let me check it out. Wow, this doesn't usually happen. Broke my line. I wonder what it was. So that was a very interesting situation where we saw it go and then the line move, but then once I pulled everything up, the whole rig was gone. And the rig is something that it's kind of, there's just no way you can, it can't just break off that easily unless the braid was wore off, but it was a newer rig, so I don't know. We'll see how things go here. I decided to take the pole off because, again, I don't want what happened last time where it fell over to the water. I'll just keep it towards my little Daiso thing. By the way, that Daiso, it's like a tent gear holder. One of the best things that I've gotten, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, we'll see how things go. We'll see. I've been like trying to scan this area. Look at the back part right here, how much vegetation has grown. This part usually has the most, but now it's really accumulating. Give it a few months and this whole thing would be covered, but we'll be hitting winter, so. Man, yep, there's something. Oh man, I know I should be there. Elevation's a little higher though. One of the reasons why I also wanted to be here is because I could try my, today is going to be a vintage reel test today. After possibly around 7 or 8 a.m. I'm going to start using the vintage reels. Stuff from the 30s through the 70s. Starting to see the fish now, but they could be small, tiny, we don't know. Man, I'm really curious what happened to that rig. My fear is an hour from now, around 7:45. If it's like Sunday, it's gonna get super hot and toasty. I hope we don't get there. I mean, from August is expected to get, you know, triple digits, like 110 to 115 degrees. But I'm here early, so I'm trying to get off, you know, try to get away from that. I could endure about over 100, but once it gets to closer to 110 or 115, I have to leave. But the thing though is that it's very important. If you're gonna get fish, you got to get it now. Man, I'm still wondering what happened to that rig. That was insane to see it break off like that. But we did get a bite, so that's a good thing. We know that there's fish here, so now let's see if they'll go after the bait. That's the most important thing. Yep, we're seeing them there. Unless they're playing shallow, and I have to play shallow as well. Huh. We'll see how things go. Yo, what's up everyone? It's 6:45 right now. Got a few bites, but nothing landed yet. Again, I think August is not going to be a good month compared to July. I'm just hoping that we get to see more action from fish wanting to bite. My theory is they're probably right there towards the middle where it's deep. But well, it's kind of hard to say because all the vegetation is right here. So it's really hard to say, and you can see there is fish movement. But the question is, what kind of fish? What I have set out right now is primarily for carp and catfish and some bluegill. But we might have to change plans right here. Oh, I'm seeing that line move. I think they're biting, but probably too small. Well, the hooks are small enough. They're 4. So we'll see. But yeah, the goal is to do vintage day, so we have about an hour more. I will do this type of fishing, and then I'm going to switch over to start doing the vintage reels. I'll probably switch this one off because I've already caught tons of fish on this one. We can see it trying to move towards the bait right here. We can see movement, but the question is if they're going to go for it. If not, I'm going to go ahead and switch over. We have not seen many bites here. I think they're bluegill or crappie. I'm gonna have to switch strategies. But we do have one there, so maybe I'll just go ahead and pull this one out. We'll see. Okay, so we are going to try this citation. Yo, what's up everyone? So the next vintage reel we're going to be trying is the made in Japan Zebco XB65. This one is a time in the 70s, early to mid 70s, when Zebco and other companies actually went to Japan to outsource because Japan was such a big component making metal base, heavy metal type of aluminum, heavy aluminum, brass pinions, gears, metal gears, and it was during a time of robust, reel making. Now you have graphite and everything, but yeah, this is XP65. Let's give it a try. I'm going to use fluoro. So with the Century, getting all dusty here, I actually like how it casts. You could cast pretty far with this one. It's actually pretty convenient to use. I'll use the Citation next, but yeah, I find this one pretty convenient. Reeling it's pretty nice. Doesn't really hang up. Well, pretty much, I guess it depends on the condition you buy it in. But this one, it's really doing well. Let's do a cast real quick. I got a crappie jig on there. We'll catch different types of fish, but go ahead. Look at that. That's pretty nice. It's not like on YouTube where you toss it and then something bites it right away. Then it just really depends on your location, right? It is hot, but I'm dedicated to trying all these vintage reels, experiencing it at the river, like I said I was gonna do. But it is hot. I would assume right now it's about in the high 90s. Oh gosh, I need to keep on moving. Standing still is going to take a while. Reeling it right now. So I'm going to give like about 15 minutes. Yeah, because I want to switch it up, try different things. Man, that's nice. I like that. Really nice. So I think you know what? I'm gonna make the best of this August, testing out these reels. I will tell you though, I need to get some covers, transporting all these. Oh. I thought I saw the line move. But yeah, I really like this one. Really nice. You know, I've seen the Johnsons. I was actually looking for vintage spin cast reels, and I was looking at the Zebcos made in Japan, Shakespeare's, old Shakespeare's, also the ones made in Japan. And I got the Daiwa mini cast, but then I discovered this Century by Johnson. A lot of people are talking about it, and for me, I love the green, the racing green. Hell, back then in the 90s, there was a car called the Mazda Miata, had a sports green, and then the Land Rover, I think 2000s with the sports green or British green. I like that type of paint scheme. Depends on the vehicle though. Yeah, so I'm going to record each time being stupid me, I forgot the tripod of all things. Usually I have that with me. Okay. Sure, I didn't bring it. Suck. Brought everything else except that. Dang it. Oh well. We'll continue to use this for another half hour. But yeah, really looks nice. I'm gonna have to clean this up again after I cleaned it all up. It's all dusty again, but the Century by Johnson. Oh, hear that? That is the sound I love hearing. The spin cast reels. Now you guys are hiding under this vegetation. Snagged weeds, possibly. Nope. Yeah, probably a weed. Let me do a recast. But yeah, I'm going really light. Light mono. Just a bead, a jig, and a crappie bait. I like to hit that chin. Well, we're going to test all these vintage reels in the river. Makes it easier than going in front of my house and doing it with the neighbors watching, and you know, I don't want to hit any vehicles, or any of my vehicles especially. Yeah, it's really too hot. Yeah, when I got that bite, it was around 5 p.m. It was much cooler, but now I think time is bad right now. Let's go on the other side. Let's aim it towards right there. Ooh. Sun is harsh. I'm not going for carp and catfish for this, so. We know that in this river, carp and catfish love the corn, but I'm not using corn. Okay guys, now we are going to use the Johnson Citation Model 110B, made in the USA. We'll see how this one casts. Nice. Yeah, definitely differences. This one has a wider spool area. And has a little red right here. Shall we do a comparison real quick? Let's take the Citation and the Century so you can see it close up. Oh, definitely a size difference. Century is way smaller, Citation's bigger. Okay. Well, we're done with the we're done with the Century. I should toss it out like that. Okay. The Citation now. We'll spend 15 minutes with this. I do notice that the Retrieve is not as smooth as the Century, but I'm not using a light jig too either, so. And we got some plants. Okay. Hold on, everyone. Get rid of all this weeds. Continue to toss it out. Let's make sure that nothing's caught on that tip or got wound up, because we know we did. Okay. I'm glad that we get to try this out today. Make sure Anna reverse. Yep. That's one thing about this Anna reverse is very interesting. Okay, it's locked in. There we go. So the Anna reverse is here for both. So you kind of have to push this all the way down. But in terms of smoothness, I like the Century, but I mean this one has a larger spool, so it's really you can't really complain. There's trade-offs, but I think they're both good. I look at it as part of the collection of Johnston. I think if anything, I have one more coming, and this one's going to be a Citation, just a basic Citation. And I think maybe it's, I don't recall seeing a number. It just says Citation on it, so it hasn't arrived yet. But yeah, I'll be trying some vintage reels from Penn, Daiwa, Ryobi. And many more. Continue to. I'm using mono right here. It's pink mono or purplish pink. Again, I don't expect to catch any fish right now. It's way too hot. It's only 7 something. It's what, 7:15? Now, if I go by the trees, probably, but right now I'm just using this as a testing time. Can you hear it? Oops. We'll use this for 15 minutes. But again, I'm so glad to finally take this out. It's just the thing is that when you carry so many reels in your car, especially with no covers, chances of getting those things tangled, so you kind of have to be careful. And I should have put hook covers. I'll probably get that stuff ordered. Huh. I can feel this little skip and reeling it, but it could be my mind. Let's go let's walk further. Okay, make sure nothing's good. No. I don't think anything's gonna come out here. It's mostly all weeds, too heavy weeds. So I'm using a little somewhat heavier mono. Oh man, oops, that's me. I'm gonna put it at 2. There he goes. And the reason why I know I'm not going to get any bass here is because the bass are typically near that bridge. They love being around the high current for some reason. Most places you see that they're near the trees or near the thing waiting for bluegill, but for some reason they like to stay near the crappie, near that weir. That's quite dead. Am I going to move to another location? I would like to, but the point of this time right now is straight up testing the reels versus catching fish. Catching fish is nice. It's great. That's what if most people come out here today, but my mission is just one thing today. Testing vintage reels. I came with that mindset, and yeah, we'll see how things go. There's no daring fish this 7:45 or 7:15. Still early in the morning, right? But the problem is the temperatures of the water. You know, there's certain things that I was making me concerned because I started to see dead fish, and I was told that was due to the oxygen levels. Because these plants are taking up so much oxygen and pretty much taking oxygen away from the fish. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're way up there. No, I might go there. We'll see. I'm not really using. Well, I do have some poles with a fluoro for some of the vintage. I did a half and half. Well, no, I did. Yeah, I split it up. Braid, fluoro, and mono. But the Johnsons, I am using mono. We're at almost 10 minutes. It's time to change to another reel. Let me see if I can get this in another tight spot. There it goes. But yeah, just happy I get to try these. I mean, I brought like 10 rods and reels today. And this towards the kids right there. Oh, no, we ain't caught the weeds. I like how these things are casting. Pretty good distance. Yeah. The Johnson citation. Today's bait for this one, I'm using Yum with fucker. You notice what I did stupidly for the last freaking 15 minutes? I have a cover on the damn hook. Well, you're not going to catch anything that way. But you were able to test the reel. Even though you couldn't hook anything. I can't believe I just discovered that now. Come on, anyone? Let me untangle. Untangle, but unwind it. Okay, we're good. There we go. People in their trash. I'm gonna have to pick that up and put it in this bag. Come on. Oh. Cupids. I think we got something. Yep. Watch it be something that I have on my got caught on my hook, but we'll see. It's moving. It is moving. It is moving. It is moving, guys. I think we got something here finally in this hot weather. I think we got something. I think we got something here. Let's see what we got. It's trying to move. Ooh, looks like we got ourselves a carp. See it? Yes, we got a big carp. Oh, okay. Let me take care of this one. Yo, what's up, everyone? So the next vintage reel we're going to be trying is the made in Japan Zebco XB65. This one is a time in the 70s, early to mid 70s, when Zebco and other companies actually went to Japan to outsource, because Japan was such a big component making metal base, heavy metal type of heavy aluminum, brass pinions, gears, metal gears, and it was during a time of robust, reel making. Now you have graphite and everything, but yeah, this is XB65. Let's give it a try. I'm going to use fluoro. Okay, so my initial thoughts on the XB65. Wasn't able to cast far. Interesting. But that was just first cast. Still got more casts to do. Hold on, everyone. Fix this. But yeah, it's when you put the bell arm, it takes a while because it kind of gets stuck. And you have to wind the got caught on weeds. What the hell? Hold on, guys. This is the problem in the river, getting caught on weeds. Okay, everyone, so the XB65, well, first of all, I'm not sure if that anti-reverse is not working, but there's something about, usually when you tighten the drag, it makes things easier to reel in, but this one, it was similar when I was testing it in front of my house. At first I thought it was, oh, you just need to really reel fast to bring that reel in, but I don't know, man. It just felt like it was taking forever. I spent almost that cast that I did, it almost took like 10 minutes itself just to drag everything back. And I don't think it's supposed to be like that. And that's with the drag tightened. So I'm gonna have to open it up, and it's old reel. You never know what you're gonna get. When people test it, when they sell it, because a lot of these people, they purchase them through estate sales or garage sales, or purchase them at Goodwill and try to resell it. The thing is that, yeah, they made their profit, especially if they bought it for $5. But the thing is that when they test it, they're just testing it short distance. Oh yeah, when you reel, I see the string move, and that's it. It's working. But you never know until you really cast it and get to see for yourself that there probably is some problems. And again, it's an old reel, but you seen me use the 2 Johnsons this morning, which are even older, and they were working perfectly. But granted, they're spin cast versus an actual reel. I have about 4 more to try, but now I'm going to take a break. Go catfish and carp. It's about 8:30 right now, and fortunately we got some clouds that's blocking out that sun, so it gives us a little time to do some fishing. But yeah, once those clouds clear, it's going to be very hot. So let's hope that within this break with the clouds, we can start to catch more fish. That's why I stopped the vintage reel testing to take advantage of the clouds. So I'm not sure why I'm seeing balloons here. Are people trying to use balloons? I have no idea. I saw chili peppers, I've seen balloons, and I'm like, what are people using? Are they trying to use chili peppers to catch fish? But then again, it's populations, a lot of Latinos in this area, so maybe they're just eating it, snacking on it. But who knows? I was amazed though when I caught that carp earlier. Pretty big, good size one too. So I didn't weigh it. Usually, for something that size, it's going to be probably like 4 pounds or so. So 4 to 5 pounds. But I've caught enough. That would be number for this year, since I started in April when I got my license again. That makes it about 78 fish caught. I was hoping to get 100 by next weekend if I was able to replicate getting 12 to 17, but with last week's dismal no catch Saturday and then the catch on Sunday with just 2, it's just, I don't know. Hot weather this river just doesn't like it. So I'm hoping we can catch some fish here. But you know what? Let's take a walk. Let's spot. Always do your checks from that grass we saw last week with people pulling up a lot of weeds. One thing you want to check to see how bad the thermocline is just seeing if you see a lot of dead fish floating around. I don't see it. I see more vegetation, but they could be buried in the vegetation. By the way, it's hot when your phone is overheating and it says you cannot use your phone because temperatures are so high. Dangerously high. So it's shut off for a while. I don't see anything here. Man, I hope those clouds stay for a little while. Gives me that break, because usually I'm like, okay, let's leave by 9. But if it stays like this, I could probably go till 10. Man, look, everything's just flowing downriver. I would imagine under this whole bed, we got bluegill. I mean, we see them in the morning, but yeah, it's just all about, it's all about on you, just trying to find a way to get them, or if you want to attempt to catch them. For me, I still want to go for the catfish and carp. I like to go for the big ones. I don't like to go for the small ones right off the bat, so I don't know. I mean, I caught that bluegill back in May, I think, or June, but I was under a lot of heavy cover. I want to get some, again, carp, catfish, Sacramento suckers, pike minnows. But I think they're towards that side. Look at this garbage everywhere. I was trying to aim it towards the center where we see some activity, but I'm wondering if I should aim it towards there. Let's check out those weeds. So remember last week I posted a video about how the weeds, people were getting caught up in weeds and trying to pull them, yank them out. I'm sure they're, like you can see here, they're all dry. Let's See if we can see some activity here. Yeah, we're seeing some activity. But this is not like an ideal spot to catch fish unless you're really using a bigger medium heavy because of all this vegetation. Right there is really nice. You see the ducks in the current. Obviously you're going to fish there, so I mean you could go through, I mean I could go back up through the weir area, but I might do that tomorrow. I'm not hearing anything. No activity. So as we look here, we see the current moving towards here. We know we have the rocky riprap in that area. So ideally, you probably want to be across, or starting to see the birds, but I like to think where I'm at is for, you know, the fish that are starting to get cover, but there's cover everywhere. Really, there's just keep on walking here. I'm trying to see if there's a spot where we can catch fish. That's not so dangerous. Not too high of elevation. Right now, ideal place would be towards the trees next to the weir. I would hear the alarm go if I get fish. Let's see how things are. Hello? Hello? Are fish biting in this area? What kind? Okay. Oh, are you getting near the riprap or near the trees? Okay, I'm just getting carp there, but I wonder if there's better activity here. Okay. Okay. I might move right here. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, guys, I think we're gonna do that. I don't see too much activity in my area. He's saying bluegill and bass. So let's do it. Pack up everything and move towards that area. It's an area I don't like. You can't really use fluoro unless you go light, but because it's getting hot, you want to go a little deeper. You want to go where there's oxygen. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, everyone. I moved to my old place that I used to fish earlier this year with the riprap. I figured that with the current here, the trees here, maybe things will be a lot better. So I'm going to do some carp and catfish And then after that, I'm gonna switch over to focus on bass, bluegill, or crappie. Okay. We're at 2 now for today. Here we go. 1 on the silver yellowing and 1 on the billings. Okay guys, this time I'm gonna use the Shakespeare Wondercast 1771 ED. So, let's see what we can catch. Okay, so still using the Shakespeare Wondercast. So far casts have been good. It's just sometimes I notice that the push button would get well, not sticky, but it would get caught, and I would have to push it back up manually with my thumb to get it back in place. So right now we're 2 fish right now. 2 big, 1 big carp, 1 big catfish, but still not as big as what I've caught before, but still pretty big. Guy next to me said he's catching bass and catfish and bluegill, but I haven't seen anything that's bluegill here yet. But it makes it better when these clouds are out, so it doesn't get as hot. So I might be able to stay till 11. We'll see. It's been a while since I've stayed this long, but considering that you know, I want to catch more fish, I want to stay longer, but I know it's going to get hotter. It's warm right now, but I'm under a tree and there's clouds covering the sun, but I think we only have just maybe a few more minutes until the clouds are gone. So I think this thing gets caught in the weeds. Yo, what's up everyone? So now I'm trying the Daiwa Mini Cast 2, and initial thoughts right now, I've been using it for the past 15 minutes. It takes a long time to reel back. Casting is no fun. I don't know why back then they put that drag above. I just don't understand it. Because when you look at like the Johnson reels and everything, the way they did everything is just so nice. But I don't know what was the thought of putting the drag like that on top of the reel, but nevertheless, I don't know. I think also it's getting hot. I think that catfish was probably the last one, but I'm going to stay here until they get the 2 or 3 reels that I have left to test. So it's about 10:30 right now, so okay. Okay guys, it's almost 11 o'clock and it's too hot. I don't think there's going to be any fish, but anyway, I'm testing this Zebco XRL 35 Army Green, and this is probably the final cast for the day, or final vintage reel testing for the day. I like the fact back then that they did these Army Green. I mean, they still do, but it's more of a classic thing that you see. You got the Johnson with the Speed Race green, and then you got these like military-like green, so of the 70s. I wonder if it's because it's a sign of the times, but yeah, we'll see if anything bites. Put shrimp, so we'll see if anything happens. Guys, we got ourselves a largemouth bass. Good morning everyone. It is 6:15. I've been out here for about half an hour. We've caught a catfish and a bluegill. So It's really tight. I'm in a different location today, and one of the struggles is trying to make sure that we do not cross lines. I'm trying to make sure that this does not happen, because that's the whole, that's the scary thing about all this. Make sure that we don't cross lines. Today, using the Tiger, this one has caught 2 with the Sugialong G Energy, so that's pretty cool. Today I have the beef stick out with the 14,000, definitely for a surf rod setup, but you know how I am. I don't mind trying it in fresh water. So far it's been good. I haven't really fished this area for a very long time, but my goal was to be where I was yesterday where the trees are, but there are people with their rods, so they got that first, so that's fine. So take a look at what we see here. I swear I got like several bells, but I don't see it ready. Okay, guys, I'll be back. Bye.
Should I include the ERA? And one of the things I was really keen to do with this book was to kind of lay it down the middle. Some people say this, some people say that, in part because I wanted people to arrive at their own conclusions about what they thought about the various amendments, various provisions of the Constitution, and how they had been interpreted. I felt that talking about the Equal Rights Amendment, there was no way to do that, at least for me, in a way that didn't sort of tip my hand about what I thought about the ERA. Kind of like, what are we doing? Like this would have been nice 2 years ago when DOS was announced. So it seemed a little too late. I think it was obviously symbolic and good for President Biden for doing it and making it a topic of conversation, but there are real questions around the ERA, questions that may be resolved by the court in the future. Just sort of generally, what do you do about an amendment that has timed out, if one can even do that with an amendment? But I felt that including it would tip my hand about what I thought about some of those questions, which I didn't want to do.
All right, do you have an opinion on the question of if 38 states have ratified the amendment as a part of the Constitution? Or is that what you're trying to stay away from writing on?
So I think the real question is what happens when there is a time limit imposed and the time limit occurs and you don't have the requisite number of states who have ratified. Because a lot of the ratifications came after 2016. And I think that's a tougher question, and I'm not actually sure I know the answer.
Some very good questions here from the audience. There are a lot of things, obviously, but what do you think is the greatest thing that people don't understand about the Constitution? Either a misunderstood concept or a myth that actually isn't true, or one of them.
So all of the folks who go to Elon Musk's Twitter law school, who are on Twitter, and every time someone's like, you're violating my First Amendment rights, and it's always directed at some person. No, most of the rights in the Constitution do not apply against private people. They apply against government entities, so state and local governments, the federal government, not private parties. There are a couple of exceptions. The 13th Amendment does apply to private parties, so individuals cannot maintain the institution of slavery. Prohibition also dealt with private conduct, not on the part of the state exclusively. But for the most part, and again, people don't recognize this, the Constitution and its provisions apply to restrict state actors. And again, that's the hedge against tyranny, the government being the unit that can slip into tyranny. And I remember, I have 2 children, and I think they're incredibly lucky to be raised by 2 lawyers. My parents were not lawyers, so I was probably one of these people talking about my constitutional rights and not knowing anything until I went to law school. But I remember when my daughter was 7, she said, I'd infringed upon her rights. I was like, that's actually...
Thank you, the Supreme Court.
Well, yeah, she was like, you're violating my rights. And I was like, your constitutional rights only apply against government actors. And she looked at me and she's like, don't you work for the University
read the Constitution?
No, like, I hope she has. At this point, I keep leaving the book around the house.
You're listening to the Commonwealth Club of California radio program, featuring Melissa Murray in conversation with Neil Chase. Thanks for joining us for the program, which is the latest episode of the longest-running radio show in the United States. The program's made possible by the members of Commonwealth Club World Affairs. Stay in touch with the club, our events, our travel program, and so much more by subscribing to our email newsletter at commonwealthclub.org/email, and please follow us on social media. Now, back to our program.
I hope someone's reading.
Station has. So you hope someone's reading it. Certainly, this will be used in a lot of contexts where people want to understand the Constitution better. Who do you hope will read it that really needs it, hasn't seen it? Where do you...
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. I gotta guess that one. Yeah.
We can go on.
Rick Kavanaugh, who you warned us about, to be fair. You went before the committee
I tried to tell
that this confirmation and explained why he's not a good choice. You tried. We appreciate that. What, like, for instance, are there who would cause a real change? How does this book actually change things?
Yeah.
Which group of people? Is it students? Are there people on what you might call the right who never watch MS Now who might find this book?
Part of trying to write this straight down the middle, sort of, some people say this, some people say that, is because I do want it to be read by a wide range of people. I recognize that there are built-in audiences for me, and they may not trend right. That's unfortunate. I hope other people will come to this, but the book is written specifically for lay people. It's not for law professors. It's not even really for lawyers. Like, Larry Tribe read it and called me and was like, what about this, Melissa? What about that? I'm like, it's not for us, Larry. It's not for us. Like, you wrote a whole treatise. That's for us. This is for, like, my mom, who was a nurse, but had questions about the Constitution and, would have, I think, liked to have something like this. I think it's especially important for students, high school students, middle school students. I think the book is accessible to them. I was a graduation speaker at a high school commencement, and I gave each graduate a copy of
doesn't have an AR-15. Well, he had a musket.
Exist.
Right, like, he had
Okay, guys,
muskets.
we are now
Honestly,
at
we can
4.
now love people that have AR-15s.
4
I don't
fish
think
today.
that's what they had in
So
mind.
that
Again, they're so selective
makes it
about
6
the
over the
historic that they
weekend.
use. So in a
So that's
recent
actually
case
pretty good.
that was decided
I think
by
this
the court
area
in this term,
is
Wolford
producing a lot of
versus
fish.
Lopez, which was a challenge
The
to
next thing
Hawaii
now
law
is to make sure that
prohibited gun owners from entering with their guns
that we
on private
continue
property unless they
to
first
catch
secured
fish,
the consent
and
of the
that
private
pretty much
property owner.
puts
The
everything
court
now
struck down this Hawaii law as inconsistent with the Second Amendment. And it's like, this is really interesting because if there's one thing the founding fathers
78.
really cared about, it was private
90,
property,
91, 92.
right? Securing
So we are now at
private property.
82
So how
fish
is
caught
it
since
that
April.
this law
So
that gives
hopefully we catch more and
priority
get
to
close to
wishes
90
of
and then
private
to 100.
property owner
So that's
is
pretty cool.
eclipsed by the Second Amendment
So
and
the thing
right
is
to
that, as you guys know, I have the beef
Hawaii
stick.
in defending its
The beef
law
stick is not
pointed
sensitive.
to
You'll not, it's almost like an
anti-poaching
ugly
laws
stick.
that were in
You won't be
effect
able to know
in
if a
the
fish nibbled.
Hawaiian
You can only
Islands,
hope,
prior to
because it's so
statehood and
big,
in
it's
other
so
places
tough.
that said you couldn't
It's
carry
just,
a
you know,
gun
that's how it is.
onto private
Whereas the other
property.
one,
And, this court is like,
you'll see
now
it bend.
relenting. The law in question to be upheld as consistent with the Second Amendment is within the history and tradition of the nation's regulation of firearms. So this would seem to do that. And this court said we are to defend the Constitution, Article 5, which lays out the provisions.
So
for
guys,
the
so we are
Constitution.
now, it's now
That was by
6:45
design.
and
They felt that
sun's coming out. Things are looking good. Although there's people here with 6 poles when you're only allowed to have 2. Depending on the license. See how things go.
many among us who are willing to give up certain civil liberties in the name of public safety.
We did to some extent.
Like, I mean, not all of them. I mean, like, we could have gone even further, but, like, the First Amendment was a hedge. Other amendments were a hedge on that. And so maybe that's a good thing, right? I think what the founders did not anticipate is the impact of political parties, polarization, gerrymandering on the process. You have to go through state legislatures. You know, there are 2 processes that use whereby an amendment originates in a state constitutional convention. It's never been used. There's incredible appetite to.
Your line is on my line.
Red states right now, so they're basically.
You got a line close to my line.
Counting how many red states and red state legislatures there are where they control the legislature, and if they get to the point where they're in striking distance of a supermajority, I think they will call for a state level constitutional convention, and who knows what they'll do. It might not just vote stuff. Obviously, this would effectively do what abolishing the Electoral College would do through an amendment. It just doesn't require an amendment. We've come so close to Electoral College reform through the amendment process. So, you know, Birch Bayh, who is a senator from Indiana who was the chairman of the Senate Subcommittee on Constitutional Amendments for many, many years, shepherded most of the amendments, like basically 23 through 26 to completion. And he came very, very close with the Electoral College, the amendment that would have abolished the Electoral College. Didn't quite make it. There's a story there, I think, about Birch Bayh and his faith in the amendment process as a means of constitutional change. Also, a story, I think, about the events that precipitate the impulse toward amendment. So, you know, the 25th Amendment, which specifies all of the procedures for addressing presidential incapacity, is born of, you know, some of the gaps and vagaries in Article 2, but it is precipitated by the Kennedy assassination and this realization that what if John F. Kennedy had not died immediately in Dallas? What if he had held on, as, for example, James Garfield did for many, many months before ultimately succumbing? Is Lyndon Johnson an acting president? If so, for how long? Is he the president? Like, you know, what happens? And Article 2 doesn't really explain that again. The framers aren't perfect. The document's not perfect. There are so many moments in our history that give rise to these realizations that, wait a minute, we could do this better, and how we need to pin this down a little more. And I wonder if the moment we're in right now, irrespective of the challenge of the Fourth Amendment, if this moment will provide the urgency to maybe look forward to maybe closing up some of these.
Every time there's an election where the popular vote is out of sync with electoral college, I had this conversation.
Yeah.
The popular vote compact still requires the state legislatures to actually do what they promised they would do every time you have an election, right? Which is the argument for having an amendment.
But this is also the problem, though, of state legislatures aren't funding, and that's a real worry.
Back to your native state.
Native is such a strong word.
Sorry. Yes, good point. Good point. You mentioned things like identifying the people who brought forward these amendments, the lesser-known things in sort of the history of the Constitution. Did your thinking change at all about the Constitution as you forced yourself to really read it word for word and write this book and create the context? Did you learn new things? Did you?
So, one, I remember doing Article 1, and, Sam can attest to this, wow, this is long. This is really long. They covered a lot of things here. Coastal roads, all kinds of things. I think when you read through it, you begin to understand what their anxieties are. And Article 1 is long, it is lengthy, it is enumerating all of the powers that Congress had because they were so worried about local. They didn't want a federal legislature that would be like Parliament. And so, and when I say this is a trauma-informed document, I really do mean it. It's like if you have gone through a traumatic experience and you go to a therapist and the therapist tells you to journal through it, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Genuinely, you see, there's so many places in the Constitution where they're talking about the standing army and their anxieties about the standing army. It's all over Article 1, it's in Article 2, it's in Article 4. It's there's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, redcoats outside the doors.
You also, the other thing that I think is, this is so surprising to me because I read the Constitution before, but slavery is all over the Constitution. It is never explicitly named. It's everywhere in the original Constitution, and you begin to understand what you're looking for, the sort of hidden clues. Anytime they mention the year 1808, that's about slavery. Because they had this idea that the South just needed 20 years to wean itself off of slavery. So in 1808, that was when Congress would be authorized to pass a law to end the transatlantic slave trade. They could not do it before that. And that's actually in Article 1. Congress cannot pass a law limiting the transatlantic slave trade until 1808. And 1808 comes, Thomas Jefferson himself, a notorious slave owner, signs the law into being, and the South says, that we're not ending slavery. We're just going to shift to a self-reproducing slave population. So they're trying to sort of come at these compromises that will end what they understand is a divisive question that may well end the whole experiment because it's just so fraught. I think they understood that from the start. But if you go through the original Constitution, it is in Article 1, the compromises, the 3/5 clause, the compromises over the size of the House of Representatives. It's in Article 4, the requirement to render personal property back to the state where it came from. They're talking about furniture. They're talking about people. And these compromises, accommodations of slavery are literally all over the document, which is what makes the Reconstruction Amendment so profound. It's basically, we're going to start all over. We're wiping this clean.
And we're going to use the word this time.
Yeah.
You mentioned being the child of people who aren't lawyers. How did you end up in the law? What drew you?
And so, I went to law school.
Liz Murray, thank you. The book is the U.S. Constitution, a comprehensive and annotated guide for the modern reader. It is outside the doors here as you leave. I'd love to have you pick up a copy here or at your local bookstore. And thank you for the conversation.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the latest Commonwealth Club radio show. I'm Gloria Duffy, co-president and co-CEO of the club. Today you heard Melissa Murray in conversation with Neil Chase. Professor Murray is the author of the U.S. Constitution. sophisticated guide for the modern reader. Please join us again next week to learn how Britain's Queen Elizabeth influenced the U.S.-British relationship through her interactions with our presidents. This program is a production of the Commonwealth Club World Affairs of California. Learn more about us and our events at commonwealthclub.org. Join the millions of people who have caught our programs on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. When you're in the Bay Area, we would love to see you in person at Commonwealth Club World Affairs of California's beautiful waterfront home. To hear the entire hour-long version of these conversations, download the program from the club's website or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your support.
Okay, it's almost 7:15, and pretty much we're still out here. Well, I'm still out here, not we're. Primarily catfish and bluegill at this part of the river, which is not surprising since it's nearest to the trees. But let's see what we can get with these not final. Because the thing is, I'm not sure if I'm going to go to my usual area. The current is still kind of flat where I usually go to. But that's where you can see the carp jumping around there. The carp like to go towards that end. We do get catfish around here, which I bet that's why I've been catching the catfish mostly here. But pretty much I'm not going to get bass unless I put worms, bloodworms. So let's take a look at this area. I like scanning the area to see what we have. Aside from the vast amount of litter that's everywhere. So this is another area that people are fishing towards. And I could see people trying to climb down there. Gotta be careful though. I don't see any signs of fish, but we do have that long vegetation right here. And the vegetation is quite, this place gets quite packed. But it seems, okay, now I remember this place. This is where all those big weeds and the hooks get caught easily. Because once you pull your hook up, it gets caught in those big reeds. I see a lot of disposable gloves. What the hell? They just throw it in the garbage, people. So as I do my evaluation of the area, I got one line going towards this way, another line going towards that way. So we'll see how things go overall. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay today. Probably till about maybe 9 or so. People got braid everywhere. See, someone threw a big piece of wood. I wonder if they used it to stand on. I'm looking for things on the bank right now. See if we could see some insects. But yeah, Shakespeare tiger, along with this Sigalong G-Lite, catching 3 of the 4 right now. B-stick, probably could catch more. It's just you never know when something's gonna bite. It's just when you're reeling things in, you just discover things in there. You're like, what the hell? So it's always interesting. We will continue the vintage reel test today. Probably within 30 minutes, I will then switch over, possibly to the Zebco. I'm not sure yet. Got few classic Zebcos I want to try. Not spin reels, but not spin casts, but they're spinning reels that were made in Japan by Ryobi back in the day. It's interesting because you read that how both Zebco and Shakespeare outsourced to Japan for the 70s. Must have been a hot time to have everything go to Japan, especially with import and the metal and stuff like that. I figured maybe, due to costs, a lot of them went there, and obviously to South Korea, Thailand, and then to China. But that's one of the things why I love vintage reels, is because you're getting something during a time when durability was a major factor in fishing. Now it's lightness, speed of retrieve, but back then durability to make things last for decades. That was key. So with the beef stick, I just kind of look and I check every 45 minutes to see if something caught. Sometimes I see the line move and I say, okay, let's pull it up. But really, you never know. You just don't know. So again, I'm gonna move to the Zebco probably after, and we're gonna try that. As you can see right here, my corn, my homemade concoction of panko flakes, oatmeal, red jello, and corn. Probably gonna make some today. I have to make new batches, but yeah. What I'm using right now on these two is my homemade. We'll see how that goes. Okay, everyone, you take care. Bye. Okay, guys, vintage real time. So we have this Zebco 6020. This one, I think it was, I'm not sure when in the 1970s. I know it's probably like 1970 to 79. Right now I'm running some mono. And we'll just see how things go. Let's see here. Make sure the drag is well on there. A lot of weeds here, so I'm not sure how we're gonna do. Right now I have a frog. I think I put a weight, that's why the frog is a little deeper. But let's see how it goes. Sorry guys, it's hot, I'm sweaty. I don't know what to do. Okay, but yeah, this is Zebco 6020. So far, some of the 70s Zebcos, I don't like it how some of the ones I've gotten so far, the anti-reverse is not working as effectively. This one, it appears it is working. And I think I'm caught in a rip wrap. Damn it. That's what I get for using the weight. This is my fault, guys. This is I keep on forgetting. If you're going to be in riprap areas, you can't have that weight on there. Okay, changed up, cut the line, changed out the bait, put a sea urchin with a little sinker slider, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the Zebco 620. this one pretty much passed the test. I was able to put a little weight. I was able to cast nothing too heavy because there's too much riprap here. But from what I was able to mess around with, I'm pretty confident that that this one does quite well. Retrieve was perfectly fine. Casting was perfectly fine. You get that little click when you retrieve, you know, the click, 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 like that sound. But for the most part, it was easy to control. It's part of the Gold series that Zebco did. Again, made in Japan. I believe it's was outsourced to Ryobi, the popular brand that you see at Home Depot for lawnmowers and garden tools and hardware and stuff like that. But yeah, back then they were the number 3 after Shimano and Daiwa. Ryobi pretty much was the number 3 until they sold. Well, yeah, they did sell their fishing line to a Chinese company, but for the most part, yeah, this is a classic Zebco that I do like. I have a few other Zebcos that I want to try, but this one passes the test, so thumbs up. Okay guys, so the next one we have is the Johnson Century Model 100B. We did the Century 100A, we did the Citation 100B or 100A, I'm not even sure. I have to look it up. But for the most part, I'm enjoying the Johnsons. They've been great. So let's go ahead and see how things go in the river. Yo, what's up everyone? So the Johnson Century Model 100B was a success. I absolutely loved it. There's not been a Johnson spin cast reel from the 50s and 60s that I haven't liked. They've all been excellent and I'm really enjoying it. So thumbs up for this one. Okay everyone, on to the next. So casting on the Johnson Century 100B was just as smooth as the other ones yesterday. Oh, I like the casting for this one. Really nice. Not sure if we're going to catch a bass like yesterday, but we'll see how things go. Using straight fluoro. Swapped it out for a 15 pound. Damn, close to the riprap. Using a crappy jig. Maybe too far. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go elsewhere. Oh. Ticklish riprap. Yeah. Thought I got a catch right there. It was the riprap. Let's try another section here. We're gonna go to this part. I'm gonna toss it out for right here. Not my favorite spot, but we'll see how things go with the Johnson 100B. Retrieve, like always, some older ones take a while. That's how things were back then, I guess. It's not about quick retrieval back like it is now. Looks like some dude rode his bike out here. Not sure, but it's interesting how the Johnsons, this one has the red, like a Rudolph type of thing here. I'm trying to get near the vegetation. See if we can get a bite. I did bring, right now I'm using crappy worms, but not sure. Small enough. Should be very small enough. Man, these Johnson reels are so freaking awesome. I love it. They're just so smooth. It's like premium, man. When you use like the premium, like Omega Pro or stuff like that, you could tell there's a premium feel to it versus the cheaper Zebcos. But this one, just love the feel. Yeah, I mean, the Centuries and the you know, not the Criterion, but the Centuries and the other one, pretty nice. So now I can feel the weed floor. Fish on. Nope. I just wanted to say that. Okay, let's see if we can get it right towards the north of those weeds. There we go. Let's sink, tug. Reel, let's sink, tug. 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 Weeds. There it goes. There it goes. Takes forever to reel back, but hold on here. Make sure that the tip. There we go. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this Johnson. I don't want to aim it there. Bad memories. So we'll keep towards my area here. I'm gonna have to pull up that other line. There's a tree over here. That guy's line's still there. Dang it. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna catch a bass today, but it'd be nice. Seems like all my catches were prior to 7, like 5:30 to 7 was fine, but it's like nothing's been biting as of now. I would go to my old spot, but it's okay. Yeah, because the water is quite still here. It's like now the current's going to the area where I usually fish. But I would assume that a lot of it is probably towards a lot of fish are probably towards that tree area. I can't get there. Someone has their 6 poles there. I mean, what his way of marking his space, but I ended up pulling up his with my. I said it before. You can't be a hog of water, and you're supposed to use 2 poles. You're doing the 6. If my pole, which I used that beef stick, I ended up pulling his whole line. He thought there was a fish, but like, nope, that's me. So here we go. So yeah, we're still going to use the Johnson. Meanwhile, while I'm going to set this down, I'm going to work on this bait caster, because I definitely didn't have the settings before I casted it, and now I have Bird's Nest. Bird's Nest City. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. So next up is the DC 150 Sugi. Is it a Suga? I think it's a Suga. This one is a 7:1:1 gear ratio, and we got this from Suga Yalang. And yeah, let's try this this bait caster. This is the first time I've ever used it on the. I think yeah, the one I received was with the retrieve on the left side. Usually I have the retrieve on the right side, but you know what? I thought it would be difficult, but it's not. It's been simple so far. So far so good. But yeah, you got that DC sound, that baitcaster sound. Well, let's see if we catch any fish with it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna get my other reel set up. I'm gonna set this down real quick. But yeah, pretty cool. Okay, we'll do this again. That was my fault. I always wait for the second tug. I try to pull in after the first. I should have known better. Got too antsy because usually during this time things start to go slow. I'm not sure what kind of fish are here, so we'll find out. I've never caught fish in this part before. Look at all these bubbles. I'm not sure where those bubbles are coming from. There's something there. Yeah, there's something blowing air bubbles. What is it? Let's cast right there. I have no idea. There's something there. Could be an I don't think it's an insect. Insect you can usually tell. File. Has 6 bearings. It's from Billings. So let's give it a try. There we go. That felt good. Got that sound of the DC. This one I decided to use braid. The other one I use fluoro. I don't really mind. My feeling is that if whichever works. For me, whichever works better in the riprap, which to me has always been braid. So far, this morning I've tried with the mono, a heavier mono, and it still got caught in the riprap. And then we had the fluoro, which went well. But I know there's people who are like straight fluoro, but I'm actually straight braid. I actually like braid a lot, but I've been able to catch fish with all 3. So this one has a round profile. Actually, you know, Billings is a company that I just discovered with their 8,000 reel, saltwater reel. And as you guys saw from 2 weeks ago, it brought that one alone, helped me get my 17 BP for the weekend. Well, we'll see how, right now I'm at 6 for the week, but August has not been good. But at least this weekend, we got something. Better than nothing, right? So I really can't complain. Six is still pretty, you know, not that bad, considering that my average just 2 months ago was 4 per weekend. So I really can't complain. Oh my gosh, another riprap. I think this one got caught in a riprap. Nope. Nope. Yes. Let's see if I go this way. That's one of the things with the riprap, you never know. That's why you usually fish in the other spot, because there is no riprap. Oh shit. One of the things you deal with. That's why you want to go light. But this one I wanted to add the jig. That's on me. Okay. I can see them jumping the carp. Surprisingly, no carp today. There's no carp in this area, which is interesting. It's mostly all catfish and bluegill. So it's interesting how the just walking maybe 200 yards or so from my regular fishing spot, it's a whole subset of fish. We're now up to 3 catfish and no. Yeah, 4 catfish, 1 bluegill, so that's 5 today, making up to 7. And this is pretty good. I put my pole way out there because I see the current starting to break, and I don't know if we're gonna get catfish or not. Well, let me throw this one out. Let me not throw it out, but cast it out. Now that the other one's gone. There he goes. Yep. Hold on, guys. Can't reel this one. There he goes. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. Majority of people here, they're here for sport. Not me. Well, it's part sport, but the thing is that I don't catch and release. I eat. why on Reddit, when people say, when people post, and I just say, "Ooh, it looks yummy." Actually, carp is very delicious. Just depends on how it's prepared. Not everyone knows how to prepare it. That's for sure. I don't know if this is a safe area to put my rod, so chances of my my pole falling is pretty big. It's not exactly the safest area, but there's not exactly areas to place the rod unless... No, this one's dangerous. I wouldn't want to put it there. At least if it fell, I can retrieve it. But let's see if any carp fall for the bait. I don't know if any carp... Oh, here we go. We got something, guys. I'm not sure what it is. Let's see. Let's reel it. Let's reel it in. Man, this thing's catching a lot of fish today. Sige lang. I think it escaped. Should have waited for the second tug, but I didn't. That's my bad. My bad for wanting to reel too early. Should have known better. So, let's do this again. Oh, hold on, guys. Okay, we'll do this again. That was my fault. I always wait for the second tug. I try to pull in after the first. I should have known better. Got too antsy because usually during this time things start to go slow. I'm not sure what kind of fish are here, so we'll find out. I had never caught fish in this part before. Look at all these bubbles. I'm not sure where those bubbles are coming from. There's something there. Yeah, there's something blowing air bubbles. What is it? Let's cast right there. I have no idea. There's something there. Could be an insect. I don't think it's an insect. Insect you can usually tell. 9:30 and it's super hot. I don't know how much more I can take of this heat. You know, I was out here since 5 something, so I can't really complain. I was able to get a good few hours in and catch those 5. I mean, we're at 7 now for the weekend. So let's make it 8. Let's get 3 more, make it 10. How about that? Nothing's biting the other one. That cast in that area was not the best. Oh, I saw that carp. Saw a carp there, so maybe we may have some luck getting the chunky one. It's kind of funny because I used to bring a lot of Daiwas and Shimanos to the river, but now that I'm trying so many different of these cheaper reels and seeing the success I'm having in them, you know, I've been leaning towards the Suga Yilang, the Suga, and the Billings and Cast Kings more and more. I mean, I still use my Shimano and Daiwas. I mean, that's where I spent my most money, right? But I haven't used the ugly sticks in probably since last month, or 4 weeks. It's just that there's so many other ones I want to test, such as the vintage stuff. Oh, here it goes. Let's wait. There we go. Fish on. Oh, plenty of weeds. Oh, plenty of weeds. And we got himself another catfish. Walk it back. Okay. Holy shit, that one just jumped. 6. I got 2 right here, damn it. Okay guys, I think I've caught 10 fish today. A lot of bluegills right now. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Holy crap. I was talking about how I wish we could get 3 more. Here we go, and we got a lot more bluegill. Holy crap. This is not what I was expecting, but this is fantastic. Who knew that I could get bluegill? I want crappie. I want to catch crappie. But yeah. Sometimes when you just leave your pole like that big stick, you don't even know what you're gonna get until you pull everything up and you're like, what the hell? Because it's so strong that these bluegill really can't you really don't know what you're catching. Even the smaller catfish, it's a little of a shock. So man, this is insane in the membrane. Okay, we caught 10 today. Yay. Yo, what's up everyone? It is almost 10:30 and I'm very proud of today's catches. A lot of bluegill. Usually I don't get bluegill, but since I moved to this area today, it just everything was fantastic. So right now we're at 12. I was hoping to get one more to beat my PB, my daily PB. You know, I can't complain. It's too hot right now. But so far, it's been very good. Okay, everyone, you take care and I'll see you later. Bye.